Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty, and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I thought about it, long and hard, pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything, and at the end of the day, you've got to make up your own damn mind. I have conviction. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
All right, legends, I'm here. Sorry, I took a little bit longer than normal, but I'm mostly on time, okay? I'm mostly on time, so sorry about being a little bit late, but here I am. Thanks for the love, the comments, streaming in. Let me put this music a little bit here in the background. Whew. Welcome to another live stream. Bitcoin has taken a dump here to the downside, and right, what is going to happen next? It looks like I'm lagging for some reason. It looks like I'm lagging. Okay, but anyways, I'm here. You guys should be able to see me. You should be able to hear me properly. Maybe there's a little bit of a delay between my mouth and the voice. It seems that something is a little bit off, but let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, you good, Dewald? Okay, right, let's go. Legends, let's do some technical analysis. I know there is most likely a lot of fear at the moment with this little dump that Bitcoin has made here to the downside. And now the question is, okay, are we going to get the recovery and take the high? Okay, or are we going to chop still here to the downside? And this is what we need to now analyze. What on earth is happening over here? So a couple of scenarios that I would like to go through. It is nice that the selling pressure is slowing down. If I look at this little candle and this little candle, this one is lower than that one. So okay, so it's not a lot of selling. There was way more selling pressure in this move to the downside than there is with this move to the downside, which is great to see. Okay, so the bulls still have a chance, guys. The bulls still have a chance. So let's dive here into the 1 hour time frame. Okay, and I will say hi to the community in a moment. Let's just first do some technical analysis. Okay, let's just quickly zoom out and we look at this entire structure over here and switch on this scenario. Okay, so now guys, there's the invalidation. This scenario is still intact until the invalidation gets hit. Okay, then we're going to start looking at different scenarios, and I will share one of those scenarios in this live stream. Well, Dewald, what happens if we do tap the invalidation? What will happen if we do tap the invalidation? Does that mean it's bear market? Does this mean that this was a massive fake out and we're just going to absolutely tank here to the downside? There are still a bullish case scenario even if we do tap the invalidation. What this invalidation means that we're potentially not going to get this 5-wave structure to the upside, and we're potentially building a different structure which is not so it's still bullish, but it's not as bullish. Like, you know, to go to $150,000, $200,000 might seem off the table as soon as we start hitting the invalidation. Okay. So, just want to see if my sound's coming through. Yes. So, legends, there's no real panic. Well, it's not time to panic until we hit the invalidation. Okay? And until price hits the invalidation, it's still in your best interest to look for longs. The trend is up. We're still making higher highs. We're still making higher lows. Okay. There's nothing to panic about at the moment. Right. So this is potentially still a load up zone for spot bags, depending on what your trading strategy is. But we will go and analyze the structure in a second. So I just quickly wanted to look here at the larger time frame to see, well, where are we? Okay, so far this structure has not been invalidated. Also, I like to sometimes jump into the larger time frame and just also have a squiz at the structure. I mean, guys, it just looks like it needs, because at the moment, this is the danger, guys. At the moment, this is a 3-wave structure. And 3-wave structures are very dangerous structures. You need another leg to the upside in order to create a 5-wave structure. Then you can have a deeper correction for continuation to the upside. By all means, okay? But if price starts falling here, and especially if it claims $107,000, okay? This little pivot over here, it's going to start looking really bad for the bulls. Okay, so 3-wave structure, not good. We need one more high, okay? Can we get this one more leg to the upside? Because that is definitely a bullish sign for continuation to the upside. And for now, this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this little 4 has not yet been invalidated. Okay. Yeah, on the larger time frame, one could also argue, well, this looks like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, but that's way more bullish. So let's just, let's just keep our feet here on the ground and say, well, we're expecting at least one more high. Let's be conservative. Then after this one more high is in, I will analyze, well, is this structure to the downside, like I'm doing over here, corrective, or is it impulsive to the downside? And you're going to get that 3-wave up for continuation and even come and eat up all of these lows. Right, so that is the stance here on the larger time frame. Let's go back here into the 1 hour. Okay, during many of the live streams, now let's zoom into this little structure. Okay, this complex corrective structure can be counted in so many ways, and it has a lot of valid counts. Some of them have been invalidated and some of them are still valid. Okay, but I have to say, and guys, I'm putting my reputation here on the line, this still looks awfully corrective. It does not look impulsive to the downside. Okay, which means at some point, whether it's here or whether it's a little bit further down, maybe inside of this consolidation area, it looks like Bitcoin could be slowing down and go up to at least eat up all these highs once again. Okay, it still looks corrective. Right. The one scenario, and now that everyone is back panicking, because I see a lot of people are panicking, should we buy, should we sell, bull market over, we're going into a bear market. There's one scenario that I have not been talking about because the invalidation has not been hit. I need to give the highest probable scenario priority over any other scenario until the invalidations gets hit. So for the purposes of this live stream, let's share it. Let me switch on that invalidation. Okay, there's the invalidation, because I got this question a lot of times. Dewald, what if the invalidation gets hit at $112,000? Can we still continue the bull market to the upside? The answer is yes, but it's not going to be the bull market that everyone is expecting. I think it could be coming to an end a lot sooner if this scenario had to play out. And this is the one that I have been... No, not this one. Here we go. This is the one that I have been eyeing. Okay, I have not talked about it just as yet because it would be such a pity for the bull market to end round about $32,000 and then bang, we start the bear market. But it's a scenario to keep in mind where basically the bull cycle ends in an ending contracting diagonal. The rule for a ending contracting diagonal, and the meaning is in the name, everything's going to end in an ending contracting diagonal, which consists still of 5 waves. But you can see it's a contracting diagonal, and the rule is very simple. In an ending contracting diagonal, all of the waves inside of this structure has to be 3-wave structures. It's not allowed to be 5-wave structures. Okay, so this is now where it becomes interesting. So you can see this structure here to the upside can be counted as an A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of your C wave. So you basically have your A, you have your B, okay, and you have your C wave here to the upside. This, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even have to count for everyone, but you can see this is a clear 3-wave structure in a 2. And for now, like I said, we want that one more high to invalidate this structure. We need one more high to invalidate this boring structure. Okay, but for now, we do have a 1, 2, 3-wave structure to the upside for the 3rd wave. And this could now be forming a larger 3-wave structure, hitting the invalidation, but it still forms a higher low. Okay, still forms a higher low, but it respects the contracting diagonal. And for this 4th wave, you want this price action to go into the territory of this pivot. If price had to fall down here and the price action over here is inside this territory, it hits this high, okay, at $112,000. If it hits this high, then we're going to start focusing on this little structure, because you could still get the bounce to the upside in a three-wave structure, and then once you get here to the top of the channel, this is where we're going to say, guys, it's been good. We didn't get the altcoin season that we wanted. Right. It's been a good ride. I think we need to, start seriously considering taking some profits, because after an ending diagonal, okay, this could signal the start of the bear market. Right, so it's not really a scenario that we want to play out, but it is still bullish. We can still trade it. Maybe with this momentum here to the upside, we'll see some explosions still from our favorite altcoins. It's not over just as yet. Even if the scenario had to play out, we can still trade it. It's not as bullish as we wanted, but it's not bad news. Okay. Right, so you can see why the bulls, if the bulls wants an epic bull market still here to the upside, if we want a proper altcoin season, okay, where we're going to get those 50x, 100x altcoins exploding to the upside, if we want proper euphoria in the market, I'm not sure if this little last leg is going to give us that, right? I think Bitcoin needs to extend to about $150,000, $170,000 to get euphoria and retail properly back into the market. I don't think this little leg is going to get enough retail back. Okay, so just quickly wanted to talk about the scenario. Right, so there you go, guys. If we do hit the invalidation, keep an eye on the contracting diagonal. Okay, this contracting diagonal has not been invalidated. It's respecting all of the rules, and all of the structures so far are three-wave structures, or at least can be counted as three-wave structures. Right, so now let's just focus on this little structure, which is still intact, and this is the one that we want to play out. This one over here, we want this one to play out. Basically what we want is for price not to tap the invalidation and to form another leg to the upside, because once you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this structure goes out the window, is over. Okay, because you're not allowed to have a 5-wave structure inside of your third wave. Because it's an ending contracting diagonal, each structure has to be a 3-wave structure. So this high should not be claimed, and you want to hit the invalidation, and price needs to go into this territory for this structure to gain probabilities. So can you see why I haven't spoken about this structure yet? Okay, the invalidation for the most bullish case scenario has not been invalidated. It still carries the highest probability. Once the invalidation gets hit, okay, we do not claim the high, we go into this price territory. Now, this structure starts gaining massively in probabilities. Right. Switch this off. Now, let's go back into that little monstrosity that we have formed. This little complex corrective structure, okay? Does the bulls have a chance? You all know that during multiple live streams, let me go here onto the 30-minute time frame. Okay, we have been talking about the range low, and this is now the question. Dewald, you have been talking about this range low. My alarms have been going off. What, we're holding it. Look at that. Price is respecting it. It's holding it, right? You could have SFP'd this one nicely on the larger time frames. The one thing that I do want to point out, legends, is that, remember I referred to the strategy as the tap and go, like exactly what happened over here. Do you guys remember this? Okay, you have the tap and go, right? Look at that. Beautiful. It taps and it goes. But you have to consider this is a very small range. Okay, so on the 15-minute time frame is usually the smallest or the highest time frame that I keep an eye on, that I don't want to see body closes below. The one thing that I've learned in this market, if the consolidation becomes extremely large, like this one, okay, you can see it's way bigger, okay, than that tiny little one that we've played there to the upside. You need to pay attention to larger time frame candle closes below the line. Okay, so some people might argue, well, Dewald, if I go onto the 15-minute, okay, there are some candle closes below. I acknowledge it. But guys, you have to remember it's a large consolidation. So what I look at large consolidations, I start looking at the 8-hour and up. Do we have 8-hour candle closes below? No, it's still leaving wicks behind. Okay, preferably a daily candle. If the daily candle, okay, so price can still dance around here because it's still today. It can still dance around here, maybe go a little bit deeper. But if the daily candle still closes above the range low, that is still a bullish sign because of how large the consolidation is. So I tend to focus on larger time frame candles, the bigger the consolidation. The smaller the consolidation, especially if you spot them on the 15-minute time frame, then I would say, okay, you don't want 15-minute candles to close below. But on the larger time frames, daily 12-hour, 8-hour candles should not be closing below the range low. Okay. Right. So what I'm saying is, guys, the low could be in over here. Okay, the low could be in, or it could still dip down a little bit deeper, but you want the body to close above. Okay, you want body candle closes above. You don't want body candle closes below, because that increases the probabilities of filling the inefficiency. Okay. So that is basically what I'm looking at over here. So now we can go here onto the 15-minute time frame, or the 30-minute time frame at least, and go and analyze, well, what is cooking inside of this consolidation area. Okay. Just need a sippy. Yes, guys, I'm drinking this awful tasting smoothie today. I don't know, I messed up my recipe. I don't know what I did wrong, but it just tastes absolutely awful today. But it's extremely healthy, so I will force myself to finish it. It's extremely healthy. Okay, all the good stuff inside of that smoothie. Right, Mr. Andy in the house as well. Andy, the legend himself, the swing trader. If you guys, if you have not checked Andy, okay, he's here in the chat section. Go check out his channel, show some love. But I'm sure most of you here on the channel do know Mr. Andy, right? An absolute legend. I think there's very few people, or not I think, I know that there's very few people that actually provide education and good risk management. And, and Andy is one of those. He's one of those few people that I still watch today. Always something new to learn, very interesting to interact with the community. If you haven't checked out Andy's channel, guys, go check him out. He's here in the chat section. It is a trading boost smoothie. Yes, it definitely is. But yeah, I don't know. I think I put too much turmeric and cayenne pepper in the smoothie because something's not lacquer with the smoothie. But even the color's off. It's supposed to be purple and it came out yellow today. So maybe I wasn't focusing while I was making the smoothie. Right, so legends, we are at the range low, okay? It's holding for now. And now the question is, okay, I am very interested in this little structure over here, okay? Because now there's a couple of scenarios that could play out. Like I said, guys, you just don't want the daily candle to close below, okay? That's going to be not a good sign. If this daily candle closes a body below the range low, it's not going to look good. So let it dip, okay? It's fine, guys. It can still dip down here. And I'll talk about some of the levels to the downside. It can still dip a little bit, but you want the body to close above the range low. That will be the first sign of bullishness that I will smell in the air. Okay, so let's go back here onto the 30-minute time frame. And now the question, okay? This is now one of the questions, is what has happened over here, and can Bitcoin find its feet? There's a couple of scenarios, guys, and I know that there are many scenarios that make sense, and I know Andy has also spoken about this scenario. Guys, go check out Andy, okay, where this could potentially be your A, this is a B, okay, and now this is forming a C wave to the downside. It's not the highest probable scenario because of how long this corrective structure has gone, but you basically formed an A, B, C, D, E, and now this is your C wave. Okay, so it's actually still a very bullish corrective structure. You form a larger three-wave structure. You have an A, B, C, D, E inside of a triangle, and the B wave, okay, finished over here, and now this is your little C wave that's wrapping up over here. Okay, But you can also count this corrective structure in so many different ways, guys. You can also count it as, well, what if the corrective structure came to an end over here, okay? And now this is forming impulses to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just don't want to hit the invalidation. And this is why I'm saying, guys, you can still ramp up here. It looks great and it gets another leg to the downside. But then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inside of an impulse, which could be a C wave, and then you find continuation back to the upside, right? This 112 level just needs to be defended. Let me switch on some scenarios. Okay, this is another scenario that I'm looking at, is to say that, you know, I used to have my X wave over here, but then I recounted the structure and I said, well, what if the X wave finished over here? Okay, where you formed your W in a three-wave structure. You formed a ABC or a three-wave structure inside of your W, and this is your X wave. And then you have an ABC in Y to complete your X, and now this is your A, B, C in Y. I prefer this scenario more over the triangle inside of the B wave, but it has the same result. So it doesn't matter how you count the structure, you get to the same result. So whether this is a B, okay, or this is the B that ended over here in that little D, okay, A, B, C, D, E, it's the same result. You're looking for the C wave here to the downside to come to an end. Right, but this structure technically counts better, where you formed a W, X, and now you're completing the Y to the downside. The FIB extension levels that you need to pay attention to is you take your trend-based FIB from the high, you'll see I have it already drawn over here, to the low of W, to the high of this little pivot. Because I moved the X wave, because I can still count an X wave finishing over here. Makes sense. And now this is your A, B, C that is forming over here. So basically you want the structure to almost start, you know, wrapping up. It needs to start wrapping up, because you can't count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this scenario, this is your C wave. Okay, this is just an AB and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is either end, which is already maybe come to an end, or still needs to complete. Okay, with a couple of 4, 5s to the downside. Some of the important FIB levels is to the downside, if we do get there, still to the downside, is the 786. Very common Y wave target. Little bit further down, okay, if the, you know, if the bears really want to scare the crap out of everyone, a little bit further down, okay, well, a lot further down is the 1-to-1 extension, but you don't still get, guys, you don't want the invalidation to be tapped for the insane bullish case scenarios to stay intact. So if price does not find support over here and it comes to the next level, well, I can play a swing failure from this line. I can play a swing failure from this line. Or another strategy that I don't particularly recommend, because I know that people go in too large with their positions and they over leverage themselves, is that you could say, I'm going to add a little bit here. Okay, 1% over here. I'm going to add another 1% over here, and I'm going to add another 1% over here, and this is going to be my invalidation. So you're basically building a swing trade in the zone, but it is a large zone to play to build a swing trade. Okay, there's thousands of dollars, $2,000-$3,000 difference over here. So you need to be careful. You need to be disciplined. Okay, you need to apply your good risk management. 1%, 1%, 1%. Okay, price rock and rolls over here, then while you're in, right? You can add back into strength when you see the pop outs to the upside. Right, especially if you now claim this high, okay, it's game on. If you claim this high, it's game on. So if I have a position over here, price claims this high, this is where I could potentially add back into the position. Drags my entry up, but now I have confirmation that price is going to go higher to come and claim potentially this high. Okay. Right, so this is one scenario that looks very interesting to me, okay? Very, very, very interesting, this scenario over here. If the B wave, okay, I need to go and work this out. Let's take this scenario out the way, and let's just draw this one out, okay, so that everyone knows this one. If this is the A, which I don't really agree with, but I mean, you know, guys, let's entertain the count. This is your B, okay, and now we are forming a C wave here to the downside. Let me make this bigger. Primary, put the lines in so everyone can see. Well, we can measure the target for the C wave. Okay, so you take your trend-based fib from that high to this low to this little high over here, because you now built the triangle. And what is very interesting, now that I've drawn this out, okay, look at where price bounced perfectly on the 0.618. Perfect bounce. Beautiful swing failure pattern. So maybe this is also another fib pool that you want to keep, okay, in your arsenal, okay. 786 is below, right? So definitely makes sense. But now this needs to be your C wave to the downside. And we can go and zoom into the structure in a second, guys. We can zoom into the structure. Okay, so I do like that this fib pool at least is getting respected. And inside of this structure, you have basically formed your A, B, C, D, E, and now this is your C wave to the downside. Okay, hope that makes sense. Very interesting, very interesting. Right. If you want a confirmation, guys, if you want confirmation, if you are too scared to attempt any longs in this zone, well, you're going to have to wait for this high to be claimed. Because once this high is claimed, it will basically invalidate, or at least give any other bearish case scenario very, very low probability. So once this high is claimed, so maybe, you know, you are a conservative trader and you waiting for confirmation, you want price to slow down, okay, and at least come and claim this high, and then you get in the pullback, okay. Because once you claim this high over here, there's a high chance that you're going to claim that high. Right, there's not a lot of other bearish case scenarios that I can think of right now where you still claim that high and we still continue the range. Okay, this is the moment. It seems that this is the moment. So now let's dive into the 15-minute time frame over here. Okay. And guys, remember, if you'd like to come and trade with me, these awesome technical analysis, okay, that I provide for you, links are always down in the description. Bluffin, you get 20% cash back into your account. BTCC up to $10,000 sign-up bonus. Weeks, 20% cash back, 25% discount on your trading fees, and you'll get upgraded to VIP status 1. Phoenix, as always, I'm not sure if, yeah, you still get 20% cash back also on Phoenix. I just need to put it in here. I forgot to put it in here. And if you guys want to join our Legends Pro community, there's always the link down in the description. Okay, this is where you get the best deals, best sign-up bonuses, lowest trading fees by using the links down in the description. And right, let's get into the 15-minute time frame. So the one thing that I am now looking at, guys, is if this, okay, we have to play out what if scenarios. If this is a C wave to the downside, okay, you could potentially say, well, this is your 1, this is your 2, and all of this choppiness, there's double 1, 2s, I don't care, okay. This looks like a third wave to the downside. It has the highest amount of volume, and that's usually something that I look for. So I'm now focusing on this little structure, okay. So if there are multiple 1, 2s, basically what I want to see is there could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, maybe there's another 1, 2, and now you're going to get your 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. You know, you get the grind to the downside, and you started with the grind here to the upside. But this is where I get very interested in long positions. When you have a massive dump like this to the downside, a massive dump with high volume, and price starts chopping, this is where I get interested to see that curl over back to the upside. Okay, this could be the low. Maybe it's going to grab it again. Maybe it consolidates, okay, and it takes it again, right? These little pivots become really interesting for me to look for a curl over back to the upside. Okay, because this could be 1, 2, maybe this is 3 that ended over here. You're now busy building your 4th wave, and you come down for your another 5th wave, and then you go up and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, C wave is done, and now you find the recovery back to the upside. Remember what I said, you just don't want the body of the one with the daily time frame to close below the range low. Okay, so very choppy. They don't make it easy to get in over here, right? But there's a chance that price, okay, there's some nice buying pressure kicking in here as well. So guys, you know what I mean, pay attention. You can play the swing failures from these lines. Okay, there's another swing failure line. Price comes down, gets acceptance back above. That's an entry, stop goes below, right? However you want to trade this from a trading strategy perspective. Maybe you want to build a small little swing position. Maybe you want to play the SFPs to get in with better risk management. Okay, I'm not going to dictate how you need to play this, as long as you practice good risk management and you're not risking more than what you can afford to lose. Okay. Right, so legends, we also have to talk about the more bearish case scenario over here. So this is what I see is there's a potential that this is the C wave that is going to come to an end. And you want to see the choppiness and the turnaround. Okay, and then there's the little bit more bearish case scenario. What if all of this is a 1, and this is a 2, and this is a 3, and now we're going to get a 4, and then we're going to get another 5 to the downside. Okay. In that scenario, let's draw it out so everyone can follow properly here with me. Okay, so you have your 1, okay, that looks like an ABC flat here to the upside. You have your 2, and now 3 is either in or maybe it's still forming. I don't know. Let's just put it here somewhere. You look for a 4 and you look for a 5. Okay, that's basically the more bearish case scenario inside of this local structure. In an impulse to the downside, you do not want 4 to go into the territory of 1. Okay, it's not allowed to tap, number 1. So, which now gives you a clue for the previous scenario that I've just highlighted. Because if I take a fib from number 2 to where the low is right now, and if we do fall a little bit lower, I will just drag the fib down. Okay, but this is now the pivot we have right now. Okay, if price for some reason chops here, and it comes up and it taps the 0.618, you will invalidate this little impulse to the downside. Which of course then opens up the possibility, well, you could form a contracting diagonal. Okay, you just never know, right? But then it's still an ending diagonal. So guys, to paint out this bearish case scenario is that if price finds its feet over here and it comes back up, okay, this fourth wave has to reject between the 0.382 and the 0.5 Fibonacci. If price does get momentum here to the upside and it starts falling down again, then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after a 5-wave structure to the downside, you usually get either a corrective structure or this is the end of the correction and you start building impulses to the upside. Right, so not a big difference, guys. The idea still remains the same. Either this is the C wave that is going to come to an end and we're going to smash here to the upside. Okay, or this is a bigger 5-wave structure that still needs to form, but you're still looking for up. You're still looking for up. Okay. Right, let's go through some comments. What is CVD doing? I wanted to check what is CVD doing over here. Let's refresh this. A little bit neutral at the moment, guys, but I can't help. But when I go here onto, let's say, the 30-minute time frame, okay, it's just, and I look at this entire structure that has been forming here on the 30-minute time frame. I mean, guys, look at this, right? You have insane absorption of shorts. Insane, absolutely insane. Look at this. Price is literally chopping sideways. Okay, you had the small little dump here to the downside, and someone, market makers, big money, is absorbing the shorts. Someone is still buying and accumulating aggressively in this zone. And this shows you, this is smart money, guys. They are absorbing the shorts at the moment. So, you know, it's still in our best interest to look for longs. Okay, this is absolutely insane. CVD is tanking to the downside and Bitcoin is going sideways. This shows absorption of short and smart money buying at the moment. Right. So, okay. I don't particularly like, okay, guys, I don't like this 5-wave structure to the downside. For the bulls, you really want this to be the C wave. You don't want a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you want this to be the last stretch to the downside. Okay, right. I think you can also. I don't really like to talk about contracting diagonals. You're most probably going to have to take it something like that, because diagonals always. But I mean. Just want to see something, yeah. It's not going to make sense, guys. So I'm thinking about so I'm trying to figure out, well, if price gets here to the 618, okay, can we have a contracting diagonal of some sort? And it doesn't make sense because you have an expanding structure. Can you guys see that it's expanding, it's not contracting? Okay. So I would say if price hits the 0.618, there's a really good chance, okay, you might not even have to wait for this high. There's a really good chance if price finds upwards momentum and it hits the 0.618, okay, that this scenario is invalidated, because now you're looking at expanding structures which are never preferred unless all other scenarios fail, and all other scenarios have not failed yet. Okay, they are extremely rare, okay, expanding structures, especially inside of Bitcoin. Okay, I do see them on altcoins. Right. Now, currently getting I mean, guys, these little high volume nodes, I just have to point it out. These little high volume nodes, okay, extreme high volume nodes, usually signifies the end of something and the beginning of something new. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. I know that there's a lot of Legend Pro community members that got in. They got in. Their positions almost probably already protected. Okay, because I did tell the Legends Pro community there's 2 ways to get into this trade. The one way is the way which I prefer. You just play the swing failure patterns, okay? Local swing failure patterns, right? You get in, you get stopped out, you get another SFP, you get back in, you put your, you guys get the deal. Or the second way is that you build a small little swing position. And as price moves down, you add a little bit, and this is your invalidation. Okay. I don't particularly like the second scenario. I prefer to get in via SFPs and, but yeah, I'm doing both. Right, I'm doing both. I already got in here via an SFP, and I'm building a small little swing position if it does fall down. So I'm doing one in the one account, and I'm doing the other strategy on a different account. So I just play both strategies. Right. Okay. Obviously, the swing failures are a little bit more aggressive. You can use more capital because you can have protected positions to the upside. You can have way tighter stop losses. Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm missing anything over here, Legends. There's a couple of other scenarios that I can also discuss over here, but let's go through some comments. And I'm sure a lot of you want to look at your favorite altcoin, maybe. Okay. Whew. I was looking at XRP yesterday. I was looking at Doge. I was looking at Link. I was looking at Litecoin, AR. I'm still in an AR trade, by the way. I'm not sure if I told you guys or the Legends Pro community, but this is where I got in yesterday, and in AR. Just love this little bounce. Perfect bounce here on the 1.382. Okay, I saw the bounce and I got in over here where the green line is. And then, we had the rampage here to the upside, and now it made a higher low. Tap my entry. My stop loss is below the low, by the way. I moved it down, and now we're getting upwards momentum here again. Okay, so far this is a 3-wave structure. This is a 3-wave structure. So I don't want to see a 5 wave structure here to the downside, because then you could get a correction and continuation to the downside. So I know that the bulls need to defend these lows very aggressively. Okay. Anyways, guys, before I jump into altcoins, let's go and do some comments. Okay. Let's see. He tries his best to look at each comment. He tries his best to look at each comment, but spamming the chat isn't cool. Yes. Mods using these spanners here in the chat section. Dewald, high risk coin, please. Earth, yo. Okay. I'm not sure if you're also the one that keep on asking me in the comments. High risk token, Dewald. High risk token. High risk token. Okay. I do not like to be that gambling type of person that gives people high risk tokens, because these things blows up in people's faces. Okay. The two high risks that I do have at the moment is Moon River. Actually, guys, I bought some more Moon River this morning. Okay, if you want high risk, well, these are the high risks that I am gambling on. Okay, and I'm using the word gambling. These are the high risks that I am gambling on, because you just never know, right? My entry actually moved up a little bit, but guys, this is where I bought Moon River. Okay, where the green line is, my entry. Can you guys see that? Yes. This is my entry on Moon River. And when I see a nice little dump like this, I cannot help but not buy a little bit more. So I added a little bit more with this little dump here to the downside. Only a little bit. This is gambling, guys. And you know, well, maybe it's not really gambling if you do have proper risk management in place. My stop loss goes below the low. That's where my stop loss is. You guys can see I've planned out this trade. Right, so not really gambling, okay, because I still have risk management in place. I will get stopped out of Moon River when price hits my stop loss. Okay, my entry is actually maybe over here somewhere, but this is the trade that I'm looking at on Moon River. Okay, let me go here onto the 12-hour time frame. So if you want high risk, okay, if you don't like Moon River, then okay, I don't know, you need to go find something else. Right, these are high risk, small portion of your portfolio, because the moves are absolutely insane. You don't need leverage. This is spot, guys. Okay, and if you do want to attempt leverage, 2x, maybe 3x, but a small portion of your capital, because look at the moves here. To the first TP area is already 225%, 300%, 300, almost 400%. And if it does take the high, I mean, you're looking at a 6x here to the upside. So guys, you don't need 10x leverage, 20x leverage on these small little degen caps over here. I'm not even sure if you can trade these ones on leverage. I haven't checked. Oh, actually, you can trade Moon River on Bluffin with leverage. I know you can. Okay, right, but this is my trading setup, guys. Okay, on Moon River, it has broken trend, so I know why I'm entering. Breaking a high time frame trend. It has formed a higher low. Okay, so I have a higher low. It's breaking trend. It's consolidating high time frame candles outside of the trend. It's interesting for me to get interested. Okay, and there's a chance that, you know, at least this little pivot, I'm looking at this pivot as my TP1, right? At least this little pivot to be claimed on Moon River. So if you want high cap, there you go, right? And some of you might say, Dewald, but yeah, we don't like Moon River. Well, I've got Umbrella as well, and I'm just sharing with you the ones that I am in currently. I know that there's plenty more high risk tokens. I cannot buy all of them. Okay, and Umbrella is still one that I am in. Okay. Whew. I was above my entry, then I'm below my entry, I'm above my entry, I'm below my entry, but you know, that's the game. This is high risk, extreme high risk. I call this a lotto ticket, guys. This is a lotto ticket. It's money that you're prepared to lose. I don't care if this thing goes to zero. I've written the money off in my mind. This is extreme high risk token, especially Umbrella. Way more high risk than a Moon River that I've just shown you guys. Okay, but I'm acknowledging the bullish pennant. It has broken out. This is where my entry is, because my entry used to be a lot higher, but every now and again, you know, I will go buy $100, I'll buy $100, and it will drag my entry down. And now this is where I have just said, I'm not buying anymore. I'm done buying. I've got enough. I don't want to overexpose myself to high risk tokens like this. Okay, so here is Mr. Umbrella. If you guys want to know, Okay, there's my TP areas to the upside. Go to the daily time frame, and I have given Umbrella a cookie, so it's most probably going to eat the cookie, right? Okay, right, this cookie strategy, guys, is very powerful. I've got a 300x cookie here for Umbrella, and I'm just looking to take profits, TP1, TP2, leave a moonbag open, and if it wants to go and claim these highs, so be it. Then the moonbag will do that. But what is interesting about Umbrella is this. This, guys, is very, very interesting for me. I'm not going to advocate that it is definitely going to do this, but this is very interesting. It shows me, okay, look at it's had the highest amount of volume since the initiation of the project. This shows me that there's a lot of interest in this area. There's a lot of interest. There's a lot of people buying. There's a lot of eyes watching Umbrella over here, and the volume shows me that. Okay, so this is why I still have a little lotto ticket here on Mr. Umbrella. Okay, woo, nice little pump here to the upside. Looks beautiful. Okay, let's go through some more comments. You are the best, Dewald. Thank you so much. Much love, Jirin. Much appreciated. What is ETH doing? Let's go and check out ETH here quickly. Okay, we're talking about the high degens here, but I know most of you just want to get into some quality altcoins. Okay, let's go here onto the 15-minute time frame. This is something that I looked at yesterday as well. ETH had a beautiful breakout, guys, a beautiful breakout yesterday, and it is still respecting the breakout. Okay, very, very similar structure on most of the large altcoin caps. Okay, you have a three-wave structure to the downside. Look at that beautiful swing failure pattern from the 1-to-1 extension. It broke out beautifully from the trend. It came back for a retest in a three-wave structure. And there's a chance that it is now going to rock and roll and start claiming these little, well, claim this high. At least it already claimed this high. Okay, so obviously Bitcoin just needs to play ball as well. Okay, but ETH looks very strong at the moment. Okay, it looks really, really strong at the moment. Yeah, I mean, that was such a breakout. I did not play ETH because I was busy with some other altcoins. I was busy with AR, one of them. Very similar structure. Can you guys see? Okay, three-wave structure. Let me do this. Okay, three-wave structure. This is what I was looking at. Three-wave structure. 1.236, 1.382. You want to start building impulses to the downside. It has not broken trend just as yet. If it successfully breaks trend, I see what I like, I might add to this position. Another one that I was looking at is Moon River, which I added this morning. Another one that I was looking at was Litecoin. Oof, I mean, guys, look at this. It doesn't get better than this, right? Where it taps the 1.618 to perfection, swing failure pattern. It gets the bounce, higher low, and now you want to see a higher high, starting to change local market structure. Okay, right, there's your trend. It has, well, it actually has broken out of trend. Litecoin, let's see. The breaking trend, guys, they're breaking trends. Okay, it's too late now to get into this trade unless you have a trading strategy, specifically for FOMO. Fetch, 15-minute. Fetch actually does not look as strong as some of the others, but it is attempting to break out. Okay, just want to see three-wave structure. Let's see over here from the high to the low to the high. Where did it get the bounce? At the 1-to-1 extension. Yeah, Fetch is not the best one. I think Link also beautiful. One on Link here as well is not at the trend just as yet. Okay, it did make a higher low. It didn't tap the 1.618. A bit frustrating. I did not take the Link trade because it didn't tap the level properly. I wanted to see the swing failure from the 1.618. ICP, let's have a look. Okay. Okay, you have to wait for the break of this trend, guys. Have to. for confirmation. Okay, 1.618. Oh, God, guys, I cannot tell you the power of the 1.618. Okay, Doge 1.618. Oh, I mean, they all just have similar structures, but they haven't broken out yet, so there's still opportunities. Go put on your alarms. Okay, pay attention when those alarms go off. Right? XRP. Me and my brother were actually talking about XRP yesterday, and my brother told me, okay, Dewald, I cashed out here. Where can I buy in again? Or where do you think is a good zone to buy in again? Because my brother's a scalper. You guys know that. He scalps the 1 minute, 15-second time frames. He scalps. That's his strength. So he bought XRP from way down lower. He took some profits over here. And then yesterday we had a discussion to say, well, Dewald, where can I get back into XRP from a larger time frame perspective? And we discussed $3. Okay. It was basically this little structure. I need to just drag this closer so we can see the levels. Okay, this is what we looked at. I said, okay, I think we were still falling down here, and I said, well, this zone looks very interesting because you have a consolidation area. It's going to provide support. When I take a fib from the low to the high of the structure, look at where it got the bounce at the 0.382. I think this is where my brother got back in because we spoke about that level, and I'm sure you will add a little bit more if we do get here to the 50% Fibonacci. But so far you have a 1, 2, 3 wave structure to the downside. You have now formed a higher low, so you want price to continue and take that high. If it takes the low again, you're looking at the most probably $2.7. Okay. Fib extensions are used in harmonic patterns. Hey, put on mascara. You're highlighting some very interesting things that I wanted to discuss. Okay, you're very highlighting some interesting things. There is a couple of harmonics that could be playing out over here. So, let me do this. Let me open up my harmonic patterns and see if I can get it in here. Trading patterns. I have a whole folder full of everything. Okay, so let's screen print this. Okay, let's go and look at some harmonics, guys. I'm not going to include that one, just this one. Okay, here we go. I have a bunch of harmonics that we can look at. Okay. The first harmonic that I potentially see here is, okay, this one. Remember, guys, harmonic patterns are also reversal patterns. Here we go, harmonic. And the first one I want to look at is, okay, this one. I want to look at this one. It's either here or it's there, right? But you have the higher low, and now you have the extension here to the downside. Does this make sense? Okay, you bounced here, golden pocket. Okay, so let's switch this image back on. I want to see if there is, just showing you guys, well, how do I do this, right? How do I go and figure this out when I look at harmonic patterns? This is one of the ways. So just want to make sure that I can now see, well, what is cooking over here. So this looks like a butterfly. So the maximum target for the bottom, the D wave, the maximum target for the D wave is the 1.618. 1.618. So that's the maximum target. Okay. Can that be the target? 1.268? Yes. 1.27. It's never perfect, but I mean, that is the minimum target. It has reached the minimum target. It can go a little bit further to the 1.618, but this little low that it made over here is the minimum target. Can you guys see that? Okay, 1.27 is the minimum target, and we hit the 1.28, which is fine for a butterfly. And this is a reversal pattern, guys, by the way. Okay, and how I like to trade harmonics is you take your trend base, or you take your fib extension from C to D. Okay, and usually when price hits the 618, that's your TP1, TP2, TP3. Okay, but harmonics are also regarded as reversal patterns. I'm sure most of you know about the diamond pattern. Okay, harmonics are just a more enhanced version of diamond patterns. They are way more reliable if you know how to trade them. But this is always how you trade them: TP1, TP2, TP3, and they are usually regarded as reversal patterns. Okay, so this little harmonic looks very interesting to me. Okay, beautiful balance. The wings are also nice, symmetrical. Really love it. Okay, so can you guys see that regardless of which trading strategy you use, you could all still catch the same levels to the up and to the downside? Because I know that there are people that only trade harmonic patterns. It's all they do, just trade harmonic patterns. And there are many, many, many more harmonic patterns. Okay, I've just highlighted the ones here that I see most common on Bitcoin. These are the most common ones that I see on Bitcoin, which is your crab, your butterfly, the bat, and the godly. The godly over here is the most common harmonic pattern that I see play out on Bitcoin. Okay, then the butterfly, then the crab, and then the bat. Okay, but these are the common ones that I see play out. But if you guys go and Google harmonic patterns, you'll see that there's a lot. Okay, there's a lot. I just focus on the ones that play out most often. Okay, so potential reversal here in play, guys. Harmonic pattern played out, and not so long ago I also spoke about another harmonic pattern that played out to perfection. Okay, if for those of you that has been following me for a while, you know exactly that harmonic that I've been talking about. Right. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I want to see what's happening here on the 5-minute time frame. Oh, it's not bearish. I can tell you guys that much. It's not bullish, but it's not bearish either. It's very neutral. So momentum can still continue here to the upside. What I would like to see, guys, is the 618. If price can manage to find its way up here and it taps the 618, okay, I think the bulls are going to have an upper hand once we tap that level. Yes, you can have a retracement from a higher low and continue the momentum. So I'm not saying it can't come without any retracements, but this little 618, okay, remember, also invalidates a fourth wave. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you don't want the fourth wave to tap the 618. Once you tap the 618, you invalidate this little fifth wave here to the downside. No more. Okay? Unless you talk about expanding structures, which it can't be because you're going to have an expanding structure. Very, very rare, never preferred unless all other scenarios fail. So the bulls have a chance, especially if we can tap the 0.618 over here. Exciting. Exciting. Was this the flash, guys? Was this the flash crash that Bitcoin needed to do a reversal here to the upside? Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Okay. I mean, we have been talking about this level during many, many, many live streams. You all remember we have been talking about this level. Okay. Price dips below. It gets acceptance back above. That's where you enter. That's where your stop goes. Price moves in your favor. You protect position. I have said this so many times. I do have levels still to the downside. Like I've said in the beginning of the live stream, I still have levels here to the downside that I will be paying attention to. Okay, so if things get really nasty and price just decides to go down again, right, I still have levels here to the downside where I can attempt longs with good risk management. But I mean, this looks... So far, this looks really interesting. Very interessante. Okay, Gala, please. Dewald, is this the last cycle? Or is there a next cycle? I think there will always be another cycle and another cycle and another cycle. Okay, just go look at what the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Go and look at the bigger stocks out there. There's, everything moves in waves. There's cycles everywhere. Sometimes a cycle takes longer. It could be a longer bearish cycle. It could be a longer bullish cycle. But this is not the end, guys. This is not the end, okay? It's definitely not the end, because also what I can tell you is if I take the noise out of the chart, okay, let's go here. Maybe I should use a different chart. Let's go here to dominance. Oh, dominance. Oh, I'll get to that now. Okay, I'll get to that now. Let's go and look at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. Okay, and we use the log scale. Just get it in here. Right. This is Bitcoin since inception, guys. This is Bitcoin since inception. Absolutely crazy. Okay, and it has made more gains in the last 10 years than the S&P 500 has made over the last 100 years. So very insane. But you guys can see, you know, just from a simplicity perspective, you have a pump, you have a dump. You have a pump, you have a dump. But the general trend is still to the upside, okay? But also when you focus on, you have your impulses and you have your corrective structures, but you are still forming higher highs and higher lows. It's still long-term in your best interest to play with the trend, okay? I think the thing that scares a lot of people, okay, but I cannot not invest and not trade because of fear. Okay, I'm not going to let fear get the better of me. Technical analysis tells me that the momentum is still to the upside. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be an ABC, but you still form a higher low and you continue. Okay, because after an impulsive structure, you want to see a 3-wave corrective structure and continuation. Everyone is scared of that. No, I can't be scared of that. I see this as opportunity if it wants to dump here to the downside. Or maybe we get that parabolic move that we are all waiting for over here. So maybe this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your 5th wave. So maybe we end over here. You still expect a corrective structure not to take the low, okay, because you have an impulse, 3-wave correction, that's your bear market, and continuation to the upside. That is how markets move. They move in cycles, but this is what people are scared of. Okay, it provides opportunity at the end of the day for me, okay? But right, almost at the end of the bull cycle, we still have time left. I mean, this is the weekly time frame. There's still a lot that can happen over here, guys. Okay. I mean, there's a reason it's called a cycle. Yes. You know, the markets moves like your emotions. Okay. One day you're sad. Maybe one day you're happy. You have a great month. You have a bad month. You have a bad day where you just don't want to work. You know, you're feeling naffy. Do you guys know what naffy is? You won't be able to type it. I think Bitcoin will ban you. Okay, maybe you just have a naffy day, but even us as humans, everything moves in cycles. Seasons moves in cycles. We move around the sun. Everything in life moves in cycles. And so the markets also moves in cycles. Okay, you will have bull markets and you will have bear markets. And maybe you'll have a longer bear market, but you will still, you know, what comes down must go up eventually, especially if there's great fundamentals that keeps it intact. Okay, I'm not talking about rug pulls on some of these altcoins that just goes to zero and then someone is like, but I thought everything moves in cycles. Well, if the project team fucks up, okay, the project's going to go to zero. Right, and this is why I put in the intro, I'm a Bitcoin maxi. Okay, I'm not an altcoin maxi because altcoins can go to zero because there's people behind it. People make mistakes, people resign, people steal money. People are human, which means they make mistakes, which means that if, you know, the CEO resigns, liquidates a position, you know, steals money from the company, there's anything that can happen with an altcoin. Okay, where Bitcoin, I mean, Bitcoin just runs by itself. It doesn't have humans behind it. It doesn't have a project team. Okay, this is why it's the king of the crypto. Hopefully Dewald gives you his view though. Which view? Which view? Is it Uma? When will this cycle stop? Uma, the cycle is supposed to come to an end at the end of October. Not guaranteed, because cycles can overshoot their targets slightly. Okay, each cycle has not been perfect. Okay, so if you look at these cycles that Bitcoin has been in so far, okay, where you have a bull cycle, a bear cycle, a bull cycle, a bear cycle, a bull cycle, a bear cycle, and so it goes on. Okay, so this is where the bull cycles came to an end in the past, and it's more or less 4 years. Okay, some of them are a couple of months longer than 4 years, and some of them are a couple of months shorter than 4 years, but it's more or less 4 years. So I have calculated exactly from this little pivot that this is 4 years. But the line can shift a little bit. It can still shift another couple of months. Maybe we're going to have a bull cycle until the end of December or the end of Jan. It's perfectly fine. The bull cycle can overextend ever so slightly. Okay, so I've just put it here at 25 October. Okay, let me rather undo it to get it exactly where it was, because that's exactly 4 years from here. Okay, and the reason I could, obviously guys, this is just data. Okay, I put my line there because I could see the bull market came to an end there, and I could see the bull market came to an end there, and I could see the bull market came to an end there. But now when you're working out the target, you have to take the average of all three, and you get more or less 4 years. So from this pivot to this pivot is exactly 4 years. It doesn't mean that it has to finish exactly on the 25th of October. It could overextend, or it could finish sooner in that contracting diagonal that I've just shared. Okay, but it's almost there. Okay, but guys, there is still time. Okay, so if I put on my bullish hat, okay, I can tell you guys now that this can still go, okay, even into Jan, and it's perfectly fine. It can still overextend. It doesn't have to come to an end over here. Okay, or we form that contracting diagonal that I've just pointed out, and we have a slightly shorter bull market. End of August, we're done. Okay, so this model is drawn up based on data. Okay, the one thing I want to point out over here, guys, is that, you know, when we have dumps to the downside, people really start panicking. It's crazy how emotional the crypto market is compared to the forex markets and S&P 500 and those type of things. When there's one red candle, okay, everyone talks about a goddamn bear market. When there's one nice green candle to the upside, everyone talks about $500,000 Bitcoin. It's insane to me how over emotional crypto people are for some reason. Okay, this is why I just use data. I just use data at the end of the day. If I look at the pi cycle indicator, and if the pi cycle indicator, which has never been wrong so far in the past, okay, it has not flashed. Where's the box? Okay, it has flashed every single time Bitcoin made a top. Every single time so far. Yes, things can get invalidated, but why are you betting at it will get invalidated during this cycle, okay, if all the previous data points shows otherwise? So you are betting against the odds. Do you guys see what I mean? So if you're using data to make trading decisions, and you are saying that we're going to get a smack here to the downside, you are betting against all the odds that the past have told us that the top will only be in once the indicator flashes. It has not flashed. So if you're calling for a bear market, well, based on what data are you calling for a bear market? Show me. Show me your data. Okay? That's all I'm saying, guys. Show me your data. Right? Euphoria in the market, guys. The reason I said I have not seen euphoria in the market, because people argue with me to say that, Dewald, we've had euphoria. Shit, we haven't had euphoria. Okay, because there's an indicator that shows you euphoria. We have not had euphoria. I have been through 2 bull cycles. I only traded the last bull cycle, but I remember very clearly during this cycle over here, this, okay, there, that little piece over here, It was absolutely insane. It creates the euphoria where people believe they cannot lose. Price is going to $1 million. It's the stupidity that starts kicking in. I haven't seen the stupidity yet. I haven't seen that type or level of euphoria. That, again, during the previous bull cycle, that was the euphoric stage. And it's above the green average. Okay, that's where it shows you. When price breaks out from the green moving average, that is where you enter the euphoric stage. And as soon as the red and the green crosses, the top flashes. Now, look at where we are now, guys. We have not reached euphoria. There's your euphoria line. There. That's your euphoria line. We are not in euphoria. We haven't had euphoria during this cycle yet. Only if price gets above this green line, then I'm going to say, guys, woo! Okay? Then the red is going to start coming up here. It's going to cross, and then your indicator is going to flash. We have not had euphoria yet, and I can see it from a technical perspective. And I also haven't seen it from a social media perspective. I haven't seen it on Google Trends, trending, even Twitter. I have not seen the stupidity here during any of this. I haven't seen the stupidity that I saw over here. Guys, and I'm specifically referring to it as stupidity. It was stupid that what happened over here. People buying pixelated pictures of rocks for hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, there was coin farming happening. Every single project that got launched just 100x to the upside. It was absolutely fucking insane what happened over here. People that are telling me we've had euphoria here, no, I think we've had a little bit of good times over here, but we have not had euphoria. It's not above the green line. The green line is the euphoric line. Once we break it, we enter euphoria. That is where you need to start taking profits. Okay, and that is where retail comes back into the market. Okay, the stupidity, the cycle should be the best entertainment. Baby Genius, yes. I don't know if you guys agree with me, Baby Genius. I don't know if you guys agree with me, Crypto Big Brains, Andy Jack. I haven't seen the stupidity yet. I haven't seen it yet. That sense of I cannot lose. I'm just going to buy everything and hold on for the rest of my life. It doesn't matter how shit your entry is. The rising tide just raises the ship. Every single altcoin, doesn't even matter how shit it is. It just pumps to the upside. People launching tackies. The more you walk, the more points. Like, fuck, guys, it was insane, the previous bull cycle. And we all know that the previous bull cycle was led by NFTs. It was just Web3 and NFTs, Web3 and NFTs. And every single NFT that got launched, you know, the price just shot in. The stupidity that I saw. People spending money on stuff that just didn't make sense to me. I haven't seen that yet during this cycle. Dewald, but compare the last cycle with the current one and expect the same. Then few people knew about it. Larger companies did not buy. There were no ETFs and yes, fast. And I mean, it depends on how. So from a data perspective, okay, from a data perspective, and this is all I can say, guys. It's not from a personal perspective, and I'm trying to create hopium over here. From a data perspective, the top is not in. Okay, that's all I'm saying. From a data perspective, the top is not in. If Bitcoin falls here to the downside, it will be the first time in history that it's done that. Then we can say that this 4-year cycle theory has been invalidated, but it has not. Okay, so one could even argue because of the institutions and because of the awareness in Bitcoin, maybe that's going to give us a super cycle that no one is expecting. What if Bitcoin just blasts off over here? Okay, 500,000, 600,000, 300,000, you know, what if it just blasts? You could also think about it in the opposite direction, because then you are going to get the euphoric phase. You're going to get the euphoric phase. Okay, I haven't seen the phase yet where people believe Bitcoin is going to go higher than realistic targets. Everyone has just called the top. Yeah. we're going into a bear market. And I was just like, no. When people know exactly where the bear market or the bull market top is, it's not the top. That I know for a fact. Okay, so guys, I mean, just to end this off over here is from a historic perspective and from a data perspective, the top's not in. We have not hit euphoria just as yet. Are we going to hit it? I can't predict the future. But based on the past, I can say that there's a high likelihood that we are still going to get above the green line. And there's a high likelihood that the indicator still needs to flash. Okay, and this is all based on previous data. If we had previous data where some years it flashes, some years it doesn't flash, then we can all sit here and speculate and say, well, is this going to be a year where it might or might not flash? That makes it a little bit harder. But for now, every single top has been 100%, okay, predicted to perfection. So if you're going against the data, well, then you need to show me what data you have now, except just speculation. And, yeah. Right. Ooh. Nice little momentum here to the upside. I don't see any berry CVD just as yet. Okay. So this momentum can still continue here for now. Right. We are above the range high, which is great. Okay, this could be the end, guys. This could be the end of the C wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's done. You start building impulses back to the upside. I'm just saying, it could be the end. There are corrective structures that supports this count. Okay, from an Elliott wave perspective, this could definitely be the end. From a range low perspective, okay, I mean, we've spoken about this many during many live streams while we were trading here up and down. I said, guys, this is a juicy pivot. Oh my God, that is a juicy pivot. Okay. If we tap below, you get acceptance back above. I mean, that is a long you want to be in. Respectfully, I am not one to have ever read comments, but I have not been to restrain myself. They are out there, trust me, despite the good gentlemen trying to help some kids here. Appreciate you mods. Okay, I'm not sure, did I miss something? I'm not sure if I missed something over here. Okay, soul Sui, Rare. Okay, let's go through some more altcoins. What is the time? I just want to make sure that I'm not going to miss anything. Okay, let's go and look at some more altcoins. I know this is why you guys are here. Now, you want to look at your favorite altcoins. Let's look at Solana. So first, let's before I get into the 15-minute, 1-hour time frame, let's just first look at it here on the higher time frame. From a higher time frame perspective, on the logarithmic scale, okay, the probabilities are still high to create at least one more high on Solana. Okay, there's your white structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a chance it can still create one more high. Right, so you wanted to be looking for long entries in this zone if from a breakout perspective. So now if I go into the smaller time frames, let's just clean this up. Let's do the 1 hour. Okay, well, it got rejected at resistance, which is beautiful from a technical perspective, but I mean, there was a nice little breakout that you could have played, and there's been many daily scalps over here. But now what I'm looking at is, guys, well, this could be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you get a deeper correction, continuation to the upside, or this is still part of the third wave. Okay, so what I like to do is take a fib from this low to the high. Okay, and did we tap that 50%? Yes. I mean, what a beautiful reaction. So you can see that this fib is being respected, right? So consolidation, support, 50% Fibonacci. You could have played an SFP using the 50% Fibonacci. 618, beautiful. Look at that. Support and resistance if it does come there. Okay, but this for now, on the lower time frame, looks like a 3-wave structure to the downside. This looks very 1, 2, 3. Looks very 3-wavy. Okay, I just want to see something, yeah. 1, Yeah, didn't he hit the minimum target? Okay, there's a chance, guys, that Solana still needs to come and hit these levels. Okay, because if I measured this as a 3-wave structure, it didn't hit a minimum target. And it would be very strange just to see this without hitting a minimum target. But in extreme bullish environments, targets can be missed and front-run. Because, you know, there's technical people looking at these targets. Okay, and then the price just front-runs the target. At least you did get the bounce on the 50% Fibonacci. But I would like Solana just to come and tap. Okay, I would like to see that. I like my levels to be properly tapped. Okay, I'm not going to go into the 15-minute, 5-minute time frame and try and count the structures here to the downside. But what you could do from a simplicity perspective is take your trend. Okay, and you wait for the breakout. Set your alarm. So you could say, well, I don't care what's going to happen over here. Maybe it goes down lower. Maybe it breaks out. Okay, but you catch the breakout on the trend. Then you can apply your trading strategy. You can put your risk management in place, and you know your profit-taking areas to, you know, TP1, TP2, leave a moon bag open for higher levels. So this is what I currently see on Solana. Then Crypto Big Brains, what else did you say? Let me go back to your comment. Sol. Okay, and then Sui. Ooh, a lot of people love Sui for some reason. I also have a Sui bag. I bought it $1, round about $1. I have a spot bag of Sui. I just left it. And I was very vocal when I bought it. Let's do this. USDT. Is this the one? Yeah, I just want to see if I do have technical analysis here for Sui. Oh yeah, I have spoken about this last week. Okay, very interessante. Okay, right. Sui is either forming a contracting diagonal. So guys, I think let's just focus on the red. Let's just focus on the red count. Let me put in the line so everyone knows exactly which one I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on the red count, and as you can see, I've done a lot of technical analysis here because I do have a spot bag and I want to take profits, okay? But what I'm still waiting for, exactly like Solana, is you potentially formed your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could end a contracting diagonal, come back for the bear market, okay, form a higher low, and then continue in an explosive third wave. So I think the next cycle for Sui is going to be even more mind-blowing than this cycle if the contracting diagonal plays out. If Sui rejects over here and we come down in a bear market, this move, watch out, this is going to be face melting, okay? But if it breaks out of the triangle, then we're looking at a different impulsive structure, and then the bear market could potentially be more brutal. Okay, but based on the red count, the most conservative target that I have for Sui is $8.3 to $7. That's my most conservative target. Has a good chance of hitting $11 as well. Okay, just guys, I always keep things conservatively. As you can see, I do have more bullish targets to the upside, and I will only start looking at these targets once Sui breaks out of my trend. Then I will, you know, say, okay, I'm going to hold on for my next targets to the upside. But for now, it doesn't make sense to talk about those targets. I'm just keeping it conservative over here. Okay, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your fifth target zone. Most commonly, your fifth wave ends in this zone. It could overextend depending on euphoria and how much retail gets back into the market. It could overextend here to the 1.618, to the 2 extension, but I'm just giving you my conservative target. Now, what I want to do now is look at the 1 hour time frame. Actually, let's go into the 4 hour. What is happening over here? Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Guys, I cannot, let me clean up the chart. No, and the reason you know, guys, I understand the reason why a lot of people are so bullish on Sui is because the structure looks amazing. From a technical perspective, you can't ask for better, okay? Because what do I see? I spot with my little eye a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what do you get after a 5-wave structure? You get a corrective. I'm just going to put an ABC. Okay, you get a corrective structure to the downside, a 3-wave corrective structure. Okay, this is now your trend. Okay, that's now your momentum trend there to the upside. Let me take this one out. We don't need that one. Okay, so now you want to track the momentum to the upside. So based on this little momentum to the upside, okay, you're going to build your waves on top of this momentum line. You're going to build your waves, okay? It's going to... Right, but you now expect your... guys, this was the breakout you wanted to get into, okay? That was your breakout. You wanted to get into that breakout, okay? It has the chance to now, because of the local structure, it has the chance to do this. 1, 2, it can now do the 3 and the 4 and the 5 here to the upside. You can see how you create your waves. Your third wave, which is potentially forming over here, are the most aggressive and the most explosive to the upside. And this, whatever is forming here, guys, so this could be, okay, because remember, inside of your third wave, you also need 5 waves, like what happened in wave 1. So now you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so can the retracement still go deeper? Of course, because this could be a 1 that's completed, it forms the 2, and now it goes up for 3, 4, 5. Or this one is not completed, it still needs to go a little bit higher. Maybe the first wave still needs to go a little bit higher. But the general direction, regardless of what happens over here, it looks like it's still in your best interest to look for longs. Okay, the trend is up. Okay, you have 5-wave impulses to the upside and you have 3-wave structures to the downside. That is bullish signs. So, you want to buy the dips. For now, it looks good. SUI looks really great. I want to see the 15-minute, what's happening here on the 15-minute. Yeah, I mean, you do have your trend if you want to play the breakout. Just keeping it simple over here. A beautifully respected trend, by the way. You've got 3 taps already. So, can SUI still come down and claim the 1-to-1 extension, the 2 extension? It can still go, guys. It can still go down, okay? So for the pro members, SFBs, it's golden, okay? Or you wait for whatever happens over here. You wait for the break of the trend, okay? Get some high time frame candle closes above, and then you continue momentum to the upside. It really is as simple as that, guys. But a lot of people don't have patience. They just want to buy now. Okay, wait for confirmation. Your confirmation, whether the low is in, if this low is in, your confirmation would be breaking the trend and claiming that high. So you have a higher low. Price has a higher low, so there's a chance that market structure could start changing. Now you have a higher low. You have a high, you have a higher low, you create a higher high, okay, higher low, or maybe it pops out and it just continues, but it needs to start changing market structure, and that's the high it needs to claim. So you could wait for confirmation, okay, maybe you don't do anything, you wait for the high to be claimed. And then with the retracement, you look for, getting in. Maybe it forms that bullish pennant and it continues. So depending on how price develops, you can make a trading decision where you want to get in, how you want to get in. Okay. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you can wait for the break of that trend. Right. But it would be nice to at least claim this high, because it could break out and fail and still make a lower high. So that's why that high is so important. But I mean, if you want to get a better entry with better risk management, then maybe you can attempt something here. Just make sure that you do practice good risk management. Okay. We have a lot of Gala. Let's look at Gala. I can see a lot of people are asking for Gala over here. Mr. Gala USDT. Where are you? Here in the list down below. Let's look at the daily. What does Gala look like? Oh, I have done some. I What is going on with Gala? Okay, very good reason why I put that trend-based fib there. I don't know how to say this, guys, but Gala is not a token that I would invest in. I do realize I can't remember the name of the Wyckoff accumulation schematic. Okay, but it's claimed the lows. Gala claimed the lows. This is why I have this red line here. Look at the red line. Okay, Gala claimed the lows, so I cannot use, and this is my style of trading, guys. I'm not saying Gala can't do this. All I'm saying is my style of trading is that I want the previous structure to be a bullish structure. So if Gala made the pump and it made a higher low, and now it was starting to move up, I would have been way more interested, because the previous structure tells me where the next wave could go and where to take profits. This is technically why I like to trade coins that has a previous bullish structure, like Doge, like Linkcoin, like Litecoin. Okay, and Gala took the lows, which invalidates the structure. So you now have to look at Gala. Yes, did it take the low from here? Okay, you have to now look at Gala from over there. Right, so all I can say, I know that there are Wyckoff accumulation structures that says, okay, you have the deviation below the lows. Okay, you have the deviation, you get acceptance back above. It's an extreme bullish sign. Now the question is, well, okay, where are you going to take profits? Okay, now you have to use the previous data in terms of how to take profits from a resistance perspective. You have resistance, you know, you can use your pivots and your VRVP. Let's do this, guys. Let me take all the trends here out the way. Let me take this out. Okay, it just looks like an absolute mess here at the moment. And let me do this. Okay. Or better yet, let me switch on the VRVP. Okay, and let me go to the lock scale. That's going to be way better. Okay. So, based on the lock scale, now you can see where your resistance are. Okay. Yes, but look how beautifully we got rejected at the 786. Okay. So, guys, because I don't have a previous bullish structure so that I can take a trend-based fib to work out where the profit-taking areas is, you now have to rely on normal resistance and support. You have massive resistance over here. So maybe it rejects, okay? That's a TP1. You have more resistance over there, right? You can see it from a VRVP perspective. High volume node over here. So this actually needs to move a little bit down, okay? So that's how you TP yourself out of the position. You get in, okay, and then you TP yourself out of the position. Can it go higher? Of course. Where are you going to take profits? Maybe one of your trading strategies could be that, well, I'm going to stay in until the pi cycle top indicator flashes on Bitcoin. Well, it is also a strategy. Maybe that's what you do, okay? But technically, from a long-term perspective, Gala is not a token that I would invest in. Can it do this? Of course. But I want to be able to technically manage my trades way better than speculating on how far it can go. Right. So, yeah, not great. This is not great from a technical perspective, but it can still rock and roll here to the upside. Okay. Because when you go in a euphoric phase from an altcoin perspective, everything motors, everything runs. Even the shittest of shit altcoins pumps to the upside. Okay, so I don't want you to say, well, I'm going to get out of Gala because of what Dewald said. No, guys, you need to make your own, do your own research. Okay, hopefully you have your profit taking areas, how you're going to get out of your token, and not be that person that caught the perfect entry to the downside, and then halfway through the next bear cycle, you're like, oh shit, maybe I should have taken profits 3 months ago. Okay, and you're almost back at break even. Right, so as long as you have a plan, if you have a plan, guys, you can trade any altcoin if you have a plan. But technically, it's not an altcoin that I would get into. For me, for my trading style and my rules, it's not a token that I would get into because for me, technically, there are better ones out there. Ooh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Dewald, I noticed you had an Elliott wave indicator in the sidebar. How do you rate it? I would give it a 1 out of 10. I don't use it, guys. I used to use it when I was learning Elliott wave theory. Okay. And I thought it was amazing. And then I just got stopped out of so many trades using that indicator. Okay. From a backtesting perspective, it is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. So you can see I switched it on here now. It doesn't even know how to count this to structure. Okay. I switched it on. It doesn't know how to count the structure. It's completely confused. Okay, so let's put it here. Right, what does it say? But can you see it just counts, it counts the structure here in the middle of nowhere, right? So it counts here a 1, 2, 3, okay, and then it counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it counts the orange structure correctly. And the blue, but what about this? It's not counting this, and it's not counting this properly. Yes, okay, it's counting this, okay, it's saying this could be a fourth wave. You are tapping your levels, but now also it highlights a fourth wave at the 0.618, okay, which is usually an invalidation for. So the rules for Elliott wave theory in terms of invalidations, WXY, corrective structures, complex triangles, ABCDEs, it doesn't have those things. It doesn't know how to calculate it. So it gives you a rough idea if you are really struggling with Elliott wave theory. And maybe you can use what it's showing you and just correct it. But it's if you're using this indicator to trade with, you're going to see your ass very quickly. Okay. It's not accurate, guys. Okay. Let's put it here on the, just for shits and giggles, let's put it here on the daily time frame and see what it says. Okay. Why? Like, look at this. Why is it only counting it from here? What about all of this? It's not taking this into account. Now it's saying that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're going down for a wave. Like it's completely screwed up. Okay, so now it answers your question, and right, I don't use it. I should actually just delete it. Gone. I will not use it again. Okay, right. No financial. The type of guy who washes his hands before entering the shower. You guys are hilarious. Remember, legends, if you want to trade these amazing altcoins that I'm analyzing, Bitcoin, it's all available with the links down in the description. Also, your way to support me to continue to come here to provide you the technical analysis and the alpha. Okay, Bluffin, you get 20% extra on top of the money that you deposit in your features account. BTCC up to $10,000 sign up bonus. Guys, remember with BTCC as well, you can trade Facebook, you can trade Tesla, you can trade gold, you can trade silver. So they have commodities as well that you can use your Bitcoin or your USDT to trade with. So if you want to do some commodity trading, okay, I've also received some messages from people to say that it's more readily available from more countries all over the world. Some people struggle with a lot of exchanges, and for some reason BTCC is the one that gets accepted in their countries for trading. Okay, weeks, you guys know, okay, nice little sign up bonus for the money that you deposit, nice little trading discount for those scalping trades. You also get upgraded to VIP status 1. Right, I just want to see one last time, guys. I want to see here one last time what is happening with Bitcoin so far, respecting the range low. Okay, if we can tap, guys, you know, just to end this off with, if we can tap the 0.618, okay, because look at where it's getting the rejection at the moment. Okay, keep an eye. These are small. For the pro members, you know the deal. You can use these Fibonacci levels as swing failure lines. So you could now already have a protected short in here if you sniped it. Okay, look, because this is where your fourth wave can reject. Okay, this could also be, guys, this could be an 1, 2, 3. Okay, it makes 4 and 5, then it goes back up. It is normal for fourth waves to be longer and, in time. So there's still a chance to claim this low. But if price continues here to the upside and it taps the 0.618, then the probabilities to claim this low significantly reduces. Significantly. So maybe, if you see a rejection by the 50%, you see the rejection at the 382, or you spot some weakness in this zone, and you have a long entry from further down, this is a good place to place a hedge against your long. Okay. And your stop loss can be, for your hedge short, can be at the 0.618, because then you know that you have a high chance, once you get stopped out over here from your short position, that price is most probably going to continue to the upside. Okay. Right, legends, remember to smash up that like button if you have not done so already. I appreciate every single one for joining the live stream. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. Take a break from the charts, especially on Saturdays. And until the next one, cheers for now.